fiery blaze, trainers shouting a cheer. This is where dreams are made, winning's our quest. Oh dear, Vicky's Pokemon League, the best and beautiful league. In the spotlight they gleam, living the Pokemon dream. The Thickies Pokemon League, where the best and the bold, only beauty can compete, only legends are told. Flashing lights and roaring crowd, in the ring they take their stance. Only pros and beauty queens, here they all get their chance. Thickies Pokemon League, the best and beautiful league. In the spotlight they gleam, living the Pokemon dream. From Bulbasaur to Charizard, strong and stunning and bright. Every battle's a star show, every match a pure delight. Electric sparks and fiery blaze, trainers shouting a cheer. This is where dreams are made, winning's our quest. Oh dear, Thickies Pokemon League, the best and beautiful league. In the spotlight they gleam, living the Pokemon dream. The Thickies Pokemon League, where the best and the bold, only beauty can compete, only legends are told. Flashing lights and roaring crowd, in the ring they take their stance. Only pros and beauty queens, here they all get their chance. Thickies Pokemon League, the best and beautiful league. In the spotlight they gleam, living the Pokemon dream. From Bulbasaur to Charizard, strong and stunning and bright. Every battle's a star show, every match a pure delight. Electric sparks and fiery blaze, trainers shouting a cheer. This is where dreams are made, winning's our quest. Oh dear, Thickies Pokemon League, the best and beautiful league. In the spotlight they gleam, living the Pokemon dream. The Thickies Pokemon League.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the TPL podcast at long last, early into this season 9. And we've already seen a few week 1 series, and a lot of the rookies have already made their debut. Joining me in the booth here tonight is Forgot Plus and Herondai.
Yo!
Greetings.
Both outside observers of the TPL this season. Gentlemen, what have you seen so far?
I think we're seeing a strong start to the season. I think we're going to see some very powerful Terra abusers. I'm seeing Terra like Urshifu, crazy stuff. I think we've seen more early weak Garg, like, I don't know what the fuck, whatever Garg does. Pretty standard early season, but I'm liking the new crop of players.
Yeah, they look very formidable already. Herondai, how about you?
Oh yeah, I'd say the closest series was really between the two newcomers, MRF and Staying Safe. The other ones were not bad games per se, but it was a lot of there's a lot of out of the off the line power, like right out of the blocks. Obviously, unfortunately, I think Willis didn't deserve to get absolutely obliterated that second game that against you, Mike. That was really unfortunate.
Look, he could have
it's looking good though. It's looking like everybody's ready to just go crazy. And that's what we like to see.
I haven't done a podcast in so long I can't even speak. A lot of firepower, like you said, on all these rosters early on. Not a lot of duds on the bench this time around either. Really fleshed out rosters. Let's take a look at those, actually. So, there they are. Starting with the Driftvale Conference. We've already seen maybe 1 or 2 games out of this conference. Frisian, friend of the booth, taking on Lil Luxio, I
Little
think.
Luxio.
I didn't get to
Yeah.
see that one just yet. I mean, I watched it here and there, but I was
It
at
was
work.
a good series. A very good series. Very close series as well.
I did see the Choice Band Garchomp plowing through the Dondozo game one.
Yeah.
A good set there
Like
from the newcomer.
and Little Luxio had a really cool set. I think it was either the second or the third game. I think it was the second game. But it was like this Undur Salak berry tech, so he basically got like a super dragon dance off, and it was really cool.
Yeah, showing a lot so far. Did make a big move today.
Who the fuck is Soy Jack Monkey?
Yeah, I'm not sure. A newcomer to the chat,
I tell you.
perhaps.
What's up?
Yeah, I
Seems
saw that
like,
earlier though. Avalugg for Walking Wake.
yeah, it's a big move. Did leave 14 points on the
Huge
board there.
move.
Looking to shore
I
up the
wonder
offense maybe a
why.
bit there. We'll see the double dragon assault from both sides of the spectrum. Not too unlike my own Darkspan.
Mm.
Frisian, strong debut.
Oh yeah.
I did see the Scar for Saluna, a little bit of Hyper Beam action. The producer was not happy.
It was, Frisian was pretty he was in a little disarray with his roster as the season started, but he did look pretty strong. And he's made some changes, but that Terra Espeon was putting in quite the numbers for him that series as well.
Yeah, patched that roster up nicely. Looked good week one. It's
Yeah.
still a bit on the bulkier, slower side. Ursaluna, Slow King, Dondozo,
Yeah.
real sturdy, though. Tough to break down. Soy Jack Monkey is, in fact, Sunny. And I don't believe there were any more games out of this conference just yet, unless I've missed something. But there's some very strong rosters in this conference. Machiavelli gets Ogrepon Hearthflame. Bit of a blunder. Dropped the Enamorous, wanted to pick it back up. Could not do that. The producer did foresee his trickery and forestall it to the benefit of the league.
An
It is
Amherst
interesting.
ugly anybody. Nobody wants to look at it.
I do. I think the no takebacks policy is interesting. Do you have any idea what might have led to that institution? Just like
Well, as Willis pointed out when it was brought up, the free agents coming, one thing. The league is open to the possibility of just allowing like free agent moves to be traded to maybe make it easier to trade or get things done. I don't know, grease the ball a little bit there.
right.
And we don't want to see like Pokemon as like rentals, right? If you draft a Pokemon or pick it up, you should be committed to it. You should really have a chance to get it back, right? I don't really want like
Yeah.
shuffling to that degree, and don't like really that it kind of limits those mons availability to. I mean, if you've got it twice throughout the season, maybe it would have been more interesting if somebody else had picked it up or if it was at least available. I don't know. Producer came up with a lot of this. The curator, Walrasian, obviously a big fan of the rule.
I think it's a good. I think it's a good rule.
Yeah,
Nice mix up.
Frisian said it's an internship program, not a rental. The league always wants to keep like the kind of the sports style theme too. So we're trying to think of ways to really like facilitate trading a little bit more within the point confines. Not sure what that's going to look like yet, but not the only rule change. A couple of the newcomers, not quite sure, whether it's best of three. Can we change moves? Yeah, we'll clear that up. Should have had this podcast a week ago, let's be honest. But yeah, best of three, switch up as much as you want. A little reasoning behind that is we could never verify what the hell you did to your team, right?
Right.
You could change something up if you didn't use all four moves, whatever. It's best of three. Mix it up. But it is a lot more work, no way around it. Did lose Caterpie, so he couldn't handle the workload. Back was getting tired. Said it was like prepping for 3 leagues at one time. But when you're most competitive draft league in the world, that's the price you pay.
Type shit.
For greatness. Speaking of greatness, Tommy Tutu lands Valiant and Iron Crown, as well as Salamence. That's a very strong top three. Lily reuniting with the Iron Hands, now able to terastalize. I think Lily's pretty scary on the shoulders of that Iron Hands.
Well, Lily is gunning for stall, at least allegedly gunning for more of a stall strat this season. You've seen it before from Lily, but I actually like Lily's roster a lot more because I feel like it's the just straight offense that some of the Pokemon have will balance out better with just the absurd defense he's paired with it as well. More so than the last time he ran stall, which was just like he had Azelf and that was kind of like honestly it.
Right.
Azelf with his main form of damage, and Magirna, he just ran the same set every week, so it was like, well,
Yeah, I remember that being
wasn't able to do much else.
a big part of that season.
I poked him a
Yeah.
little bit for that. It was funny.
Yeah, the assault vest Magarina. And I think Frisian fell into that trap at points last season too. It's such a sturdy like sort of comfort pick. I think it's very limiting, especially when opponents can come into the series, somewhat confident that they're not going to be dealing with a boosting Magarina. Because if you don't prep for that just a little bit, if you're just a little light on the prep for that, you're going to get swept. Yeah, Swaggy landing Chien Pao and Terrapagos. And in my opinion, Terrapagos is a better draft spinner than Great Tusk. When you run Great Tusk, you want to run like a lot of more different, I think like maybe a boosting bulk up set.
I think the versatility of Tusk kind of puts it above Pagos.
That's what I mean. Like as a spinner alone, like if I wanted just a spinner to spin every game, I think Terrapagos is a little bit better value pick. I think there's games where I really don't want to have spin on my set. I mean, you can fit it a lot, even on like bulk up sets and stuff. But there are games in draft where I kind of want to have like 3 moves for coverage at times, and maybe I want to bulk up too, or even set Stealth Rock. Stealth Rockers are sometimes hard to come by too. That you want to fit into your top 6. Pagos can get away with running Star Storm and 1 coverage move in like 90% of series. That frees up like Calm Mind, Protect, Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin, Toxic. It just can easily fit what it needs alongside Rapid Spin. That's my take.
Yeah. I think Swaggy's roster is, I think, one of my more favorites just because of you have the versatility of Terrapagos that can work with like the rest of the team, but like Chien Pao, Terrapagos, Gouging Fire, Keldeo as a Terra Captain, no less.
Yeah, no doubt.
I always like the Keldeo. I do think
Keldeo is so good.
if you look at some of the like really strong breakers like Terra Keldeo and like some of those others in this league, I don't know how well Lily Stall is gonna fare. Just like, in draft you're more limited in team crafting and they can slot things specifically for your mons. It's maybe a little scarier than it would be otherwise.
Keldeo for sure. I mean, Keldeo even without Terra, I think would still be a pretty solid pick. Maybe like 13 points instead of
for sure
16. But Terra really adds to it. Its calm mindsets they're decent, but when you add Terra, they get a lot better, a lot more threatening, able to finally have access to coverage.
You can even just throw specs on that thing and just click surf over and over again.
Yeah, and the breaking
you're gonna
power of Terra Water. I was looking at Keldeo coming into the season, but I like to mix it up a little bit. I get kind of bored. I was really bored with the team I had last season at points. Having such a stacked top end and just not much room for variance game to game. Just kind of drags from week to week.
Speaking of last season, how do you feel about your victory, your second ring?
Yeah, it's business as usual. We got a bit fortunate at times in the series, but that's the it's a game we play, and God knows I've been on the receiving end of it. It is. Uh, I think Chivo was definitely
6 turn
better
greedy.
prepared than me. Probably outplayed me more turns than the other way around, to be fair. I think my prep was solid enough to close some of the gap. But I felt really limited going up against the Dragapult able to terrestrialize. You know what's really shitty about it is Ditto would be great in theory, but like I can't copy the Terra Blast because I can't Terra my Ditto. And if he's already terrestrialized, I don't even think Ditto can copy it. It's a mess. Anyway, didn't want to bring Ditto. I've drafted Ditto before, mostly just to make people kind of like doubt bringing a setup sweep. I don't think it's ever worth bringing personally. But maybe someone with more
I think
experience
they're
with Ditto
better
can
sweeper
chime in.
stoppers, too.
What's that? I didn't hear you. I gotta turn up the volume here.
I think they're better sweeper stoppers too.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I'd rather have like an unaware mon. Even if Ditto were 1 point, it's like it's still a team slot. I guess if there was nothing better, it gives you a little more.
Yep. Eviolite Trapinch, bro. Don't be sleeping on it.
Yeah, for real. I mean, 100 attack is nice. It's crazy that it has that. I always thought that was neat when I was a kid. I was like comparing my Trapinch's attack to like my starters and shit, right? Like, damn. But everything else was pretty bad. Unfortunate. Speaking of bad, Limit probably has the worst case of like a top heavy roster here. Flareon and Sandaconda on the bench there.
Oh, come on. Hey, come on. We don't got to talk bad about
I mean, you can say like, oh, it's really top stack, but I mean, by top you mean like the first 8 mons. So there's still like more room for maneuver. I don't think we'll ever really see Flareon or Sandaconda come to a game. Sandaconda if there's like an intense need for a bulky ground type, but like,
yeah, it can slot into a defensive role, surely. Flareon, unlikely to do much. And is just 1 point shy away from being able to terrestrialize it, perhaps, like a Terra normal facade set or something. I don't know. Flareon maybe could find like one series where it can do something. I'd be curious if Limit finds that series this season, though, looking at a lot of these other rosters. Maki gets to draft their own roster this season for the first time and gets Magearna, Gliscor, and Weavile as a top 3. That's nasty.
Really? I gotta preface it, like, I don't actually think there's a bad draft throughout the entire TPL this season. I kind of like literally looking over it, I'm like, I just like all of them. Like, some of them I might be like, this one's like, yeah, a bit better than that one, like overall, but they all look like really good. And Maki's is one that I feel like would be a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yeah, I don't see any. As I said this draft night, I'm like, I don't see any that just look like outright dog shit. We had some stinkers last season, one of which might be in the booth with us right now.
All right, okay, buddy.
But for the most part, I mean, the points allow it a little more too, right? You don't have such top-heavy rosters. I mean, I think I had 6 Mons and then like 4 1-pointers at one point last season.
Yeah,
yes, you did.
I regretted
the
it.
point
That
increase was
ass.
Was a very good call. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to have like bridged the gap, and the way the board was constructed had quite a few Mons below 11 points that may have been like ranked higher otherwise, but it really spread out those points and lets you get like strong bottom halves of the roster like you see across the screen right now.
Yeah.
I think we should get some matchups cranked in. Or wait, no.
Oh, we got one more conference to do, big dog.
Yeah,
You're not
we
getting
got
out of here that easy.
Conference, forgot.
Yeah, we got a whole entire other conference.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. They probably forgot,
Yo,
He forgot about the conference because its name is
don't worry
forgot.
about here.
That's all right. That's all right. We've touched on most of these. Cyndaquil picks up Palafin. Might be a day late and $1 short without the access to terrestrialization. Still a great pick, though, And I like that he's got Quaquaval next to it. Can do some cool, like, water spam things there. Looks better than it did last season. I'm excited to see what Cyndaquil pulls off this season. And RJ,
Yeah.
another rookie, lands Fluttermane, very coveted pick there, along with our
Really good
Caludon.
rain team.
Yeah, got a little rain going here. Our Caludon finally free of its shackles.
Bro, I
Joins.
just didn't want to run. I did not want to draft Pelipper's ugly ass last
No,
season.
I get it. I
Okay?
mean, I think our Caludon's fine without the rain. I just don't. It's not as expensive as it was last season either. That's the thing.
I think
True.
4 point Sceptile is a steal on a team like this.
Yeah, I kind of like
I
it.
mean, just like access to Shed Tail,
Yeah,
decent, like,
Mm-hmm.
coverage.
Shed Tail
Sceptile's an interesting one.
can be
Helps
a
you take on
decent
enemy
cleaner.
water types.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be excited to see what that rain team can do. Has RJ
I mean,
played yet?
Shed Tail into Barraskewda just gives you so many opportunities to create safe entry points.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. No, we have not seen RJ play yet. So we'll move on to the next conference now. We did see Mac make a few moves to his roster before the season began, I believe. Oh, yeah, the Enamorous. We touched on that already.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maki's roster stacked. Really excited to see what happens there this season. Castelia Conference. Let's just start with Dev. We've already seen him use that Garganical pretty well.
This is a dev roster if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, former
And
champion
his
knows how to
glorious,
draft.
yeah, his glorious king Garganacle's back too.
Oh yeah, let me look at that. And the Wellspring, Wellspring with the Cyclozar setup, and also the Goldingo. I mean, there's just so many crucial setup opportunities here. And the Enamorous, of course. Oh man, I can't wait to fight that team. This can be fun.
I do think it's a bit top heavy.
Yeah, it looks like
I
it.
mean-
Any roster that's got Haunter and Honchkrow. Honchkrow was decreased from, I think, 2 to 1 points this season. Not a bad pickup. Yeah, could probably just make one of them a captain. Right? Not sure why
mean-
Dev doesn't.
That top 6 just looks like an OU team,
Yeah, it does look pretty stacked. You could run that on the ladder, right? With, minus the
true.
shed tail.
Yeah, but if Shed Tail wasn't banned, that's
just
what
nuts.
OU would look like. Yeah.
Holy.
So
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Nothing you want to sub up with. Garganical can quickly snowball with Terra and Iron Defense. And, Goldingo, Nasty Plot, Landoris, Swords Dance, even Nasty Plot, Ogre Pond. Just nasty combinations.
I mean, even Loander is coming in on a sub, intimidating your Mon so that you can't break sub anymore, and it gets a free turn to just throw out an EQ or a rock slide or something. It's a uncomfortable concept. I mean, even if you just use it to get rock sub, it's nothing you want to give a free switch.
Right. I think the only thing I don't quite like is just, realistically, you're probably not bringing Tauros often, right? And maybe with a little bit of shuffling, you could get a 15-point captain next to Garg. I don't know if it's feasible or not. I don't know what's available. It just seems like a little bit of missed potential, right?
Yeah.
But no, that's a stacked roster. He could go 8-0. I mean, that's nuts. Good draft. But yeah, one of the more top heavy ones as well. Sunny, this time not using Sun, it seems.
We got Sand going here.
Yeah, Sand has won a championship before under the skilled hands of Swaggy Boy.
Would have won last season too if I didn't drop. Trust me.
Gardevoir, a great captain in my opinion.
Yeah.
Using the Gardevoir's the most expensive captain on this roster.
And Okie dokie.
Yeah, Okie Dokie, former MVP,
Okey-dokey's
if I remember correctly.
scary, yeah.
Yeah,
What?
it is.
How
It
many
is
kills
going
did
at 10
How
points.
many kills did Mink have with it? Like 37 or something. It was
It was a
absurd.
ridiculous
That was
number.
nuts. Yeah,
I,
totally popped off that season. I don't think we've seen anything
Yeah,
quite like it since, right?
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Sunny's roster, I like it. It looks like something I've used Gardevoir and Manaphy before. Tyranitar a lot of the time. I love Cornerstone. Corviknight I've drafted before. I love all of these Pokemon individually. And, the one thing is with Tyranitar, maybe you really wished you'd gotten a hold of Excadrill. But really like what I see here. I think Tatsugiri's pretty nice at 3 points, too. Dragon Water off 120 special attack is, like, never bad, right?
Oh yeah.
I think Ogerpon appreciates the Spadef boost.
Yeah, it gives it some more flexibility. All of a sudden, those, like, neutral water attacks were a lot more comfortable
Yeah.
for you to switch into. Yeah, not a bad roster
Pretty solid
for
team.
Sunny.
Yeah.
Who has
Corv,
played
Lando
in
is
this
nice.
conference? Let's see. Looks like
That's good.
myself,
Are we-
Willis, Dev, Greedent, and Staying Safe and MRF. Okay. So yeah, Dev did beat Greedent. We'll touch on that when we get to Greedent's roster. Here's my roster. If you have any questions or want any thoughts, I'll expand. I don't want to talk about my own too much.
When are we
Yeah,
getting out? When is
other
Alcremie
thing-
showing up? Is what I want to know.
Dude, it's coming. I mean, that's
When are we? Dude, I thought Tauros was low key like the kind of like an MVP of your series when I watched, just because Tauros is just like regular Tauros. Sometimes I'm like, damn, dude, this is way better than Paldean Tauros. By like, just, I don't know. Why.
Tauros is nice, man. Offensively, I
He's
really
just
like.
good.
I was using Tauros like atop the BDS POU ladder at one point. It's a good mod, man. It hits hard.
Yeah.
You can spec into like the special move pool that it's got. Like the Gen 1 normal move pool. Thanks to Sheer Force and like take advantage of some quad super effective moves that you have. Like Surf in the Rhyperior or something like that. Flamethrower into Scizor. Which I did have but didn't come up, unfortunately. Wanted to roast a Scizor. I love Scizor. It's my favorite Pokemon.
Oh, and unfortunately, the Darkrai made an appearance and kind of got clapped.
Yeah, we have talked about yours already, Maki, but not enough in my opinion. We'll circle back to it now. Yeah, Magearna, Gliscor, Weevil. Maybe would have liked to see a Gliscor Terra captaincy. I don't know. I see the vision, though. Slitherwing, kind of a steal at 7. Strong pivot,
9
bulky.
last season. Oh.
Yeah, we didn't get really to the bottom half of this roster. Yeah, Slitherwing, I think it's a mana pickup, and it kind of disappoints me. But maybe as a Terra captain and access to booster energy, it can do some cool shit. I think Maki could be pretty creative with it. Cresselia is a nice piece to have. There's some teams that just, for whatever reason, across like many seasons, just come up against the Cresselia and get stonewalled, right?
Yeah.
Vaporeon, it's a nice Terra captain, can do the Calm Mind thing. Can make it a little easier to pass Wish, flip turn stuff. But yeah, the top 3 I think is the big thing here. Anything stand out to you guys?
I think the addition of Webs here is underrated. Offensive Gliscor be much more of a threat. I do think some of these threats are too slow even to take advantage of Webs. Like, I don't think Gearna's ever... with Shift Gear, But on its own, gonna need a boost up before it outspeeds things even with Webs.
Yeah. The Web's probably gonna primarily benefit like the Slitherwing and the Gliscor especially.
Agreed. I think Slitherwing has potential to be a really strong breaker and like revenge killer on this team. Or a bulky pivot or whatever. It's versatile with Terra. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid analysis there. Hydrapple, pretty nice pick there. What What captains do we have over there on Hydrapple? Grass, Poison, Fairy. Yeah, not bad. We could see some Hydrapple shenanigans this season as well. I have asked the chat to submit a replay that they want to send. One replay. It's been a long time since we had a replay on here, but only one. Chiva's roster. What are we thinking here?
Yeah, I can't see it.
Hold on, let me pull up the. Sorry, I actually have the spreadsheet up.
Unprepared.
No, it's just because I'm watching the stream.
Yeah, the stream is delayed.
There you go. Dude, Chiva's roster is pretty fucking terrifying. Holy.
I think Spectre is.
I mean, look at that. Like, Roaring Moon is kind of just always good without a Proto Boost. With Proto Boost, is devastating. Can just either, like, start by taking out a couple mons or clean up endgame. I think Spectre is a fraud, but there's certainly potential there. Deoxys Speed, obviously, is capable of a whole lot. Running it back with Hisui and Arcanine, which is pretty cool because I think Chiva had a lot of success with Hisui and Arcanine last season.
Yeah,
and I mean, there's a lot. It's scary.
Definitely,
it's a scary team.
We were looking at Roaring Moon before the draft, kind of weighing it next to like Urshifu and Darkrai and seeing which way we wanted to take the Dark Spam, and Chiva ultimately made the choice for us. But Spectrier, I think, somewhat of a fraud. I think myself too. It's a mon I've thought about using before. Don Fan, one of the best spinners you can have. Nice and Sturdy's really nice to have. Endeavor and things like that. I think it's a very nice top six. And I think the combination of like Chestnut and Florges has some interesting like synergy and sort of like patches up some things with that top six in certain series.
I think Chestnut is a really nice like pickup for 4 points. I'm pretty sure that thing is like on ladder. Not that ladder matters, but it's like higher up than like Florges and stuff. So,
yeah, probably so. 4 points is a steal. I think.
It's up in like RU, and like Florges like NU or something. So.
Yeah, Tentacruel can spin too. Tentacruel has some, toxic spikes access. Bronzong can certainly patch holes here and there.
Yeah, really solid. I think, especially on the offense. But I think those late defensive pickups are not to be underestimated. You know, we've seen Bronzong put in some crazy work in past seasons. And then like the other like bottom three there are all pretty solid defensive mons.
Yeah, all like typings that that top six is really missing, key resistances and such that you'll need in certain matchups. Like Chestnut, for example, if you needed like a real solid dark resist, maybe into like dark spam, for instance, might be helpful. And Florges as well. I really like what Chiva's done here. Brings us to Staying Safe, the rookie who did win tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
I do believe he did, yes. I'll double check that record book. Yep.
How is like a scream series?
This is, it's a pretty scary team. Like, just in general, again, like another scary team where you have Zamazenta who's like, yeah, he can set up iron defenses, but he doesn't have to just to be useful right off the bat. You send him out, Dauntless Shield proc, you can start clicking buttons. Gambit can do a lot. Really annoying mon to deal with, no matter what you're hitting it with.
Yeah.
Huram, obviously, very, very useful as well. Big powerhouse. Screamtail can do everything. Regieleki as well is there to just click the button and do a ton of damage. Also Terracap.
Yeah, Regieleki I don't think was drafted last season. Good to see it back. Obviously one of the best captains possible to have in the draft. The downside being that it's paired next to something like Revaroom and Alolan Persian. We'll see if it's worth it. Did say found some like trouble getting into like spin or maybe rapid spin not worth the move slot. Especially next to Excadrill maybe who can slot it more easily. But it is cool to also in matchups where you only really need like Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Terra Blast, just rapid spin, fuck it. You might need it, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, in the sticky webs, you can be faster than a lot of mons at, most mons at minus the speed and just still spin, right? So it gives you some
Yeah.
utility there, or you could just run boots, I guess. But interesting that
Yeah,
you
boots
could
are
run
great.
magnet or whatever you want to run.
I think it's
King
a
Gambit looked
solid
good.
team. Really diverse speed tiers. I always like to see Screamtail. Cool mon. But also this is another OU team. We got like Zam, King Gambit, Kyurem, Moltres, Excadrill, and Regieleki. I mean, we go a tier below and a tier above, but like that's another. I mean, you've got 3 lesser mons on the bottom, so it's 7-3. But this is another pretty top heavy roster, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Not going to see too much from the bottom there. Maybe one of the more top heavy overall, Gligar, Alolan Persian. But Gligar can be a defensive piece in certain matchups and does have access to the hazards and the U-turn and knockoff and whatnot. So not a bad mon. Very bulky with that Eviolite. So I think we could see that.
I don't think Riverroom's that terrible of a pick, to be honest. I mean, there's a reason. Like, it can do a lot. It can set up a lot of toxic spikes. It can also reverse sweep. I mean, it can end game clean up. Like, it's not in every matchup do you really want to bring Riverroom, but if you're looking for a low point, like, potential sweeper, Riverroom can do it.
Yeah, I think
Especially if
Reveroom's
it's
a
Terra Cap.
solid 6-point Terra Captain. They really just illustrating, though, that, Aleki does force you to look for a 6-point Terra Captain or something similar if you want to run the 3 Captain max.
Yeah.
But like you guys said, the top of that team is real nasty. Maybe pound for pound the best, right?
Yeah.
Number 6, Read It. Great Tusk and
I
Raging Bone.
love this roster. I really do. Like, I love Great Tusk in general, but then it's like, it just keeps getting better. You're like, Great Tusk, oh yeah, hell yeah, I like that. Oh, Raging Bolt, oh yeah, I like that. Skeledirge, yeah, I like that guy. Terra Captain, Comfy, and Halucha, yeah, that's pretty freaking good. And Greedent has shown his proficiency in using our Arboliva as well, which is another underrated but very good mon, whether it's a Terra Cap or not. I just think it's a damn good roster.
There's also a pretty solid team for the grassy terrain setup. I mean, it's obviously like, oh, you have Halucha that benefits, right? But like extra healing on Comfey is appreciated. Registeel and Bolt both like the extra longevity and the earthquake resistance. Suicune likes the extra like little bit of chip heal in case it wants to like call Mind Boost or something.
Yeah.
A really solid like synergy there. Even with like Great Tusk, you would think is kind of disadvantaged by it because it doesn't like losing Earthquake, but it still has Headlong Rush. So, it's like one of the few ground types that's really going to function even in grassy terrain. So,
Yeah.
it's a very solid terrain team that I don't think relies too heavily on terrain. It's not like pure like grassy terrain abusers or whatever, or like, it's not like a Siren team or anything. I think it's a pretty cool roster.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Suicune, Halucha, and Comfy all have incredible setup potential, and it is all, of course, amplified by the grassy terrain. Reggie still gets to be a real pain in the ass under the grassy terrain. Really hard to break down.
Yeah.
Can start like cursing and stuff, right? Cursing and easily rolling you over. Yeah, I like what Greedent's done here. I think if not the best roster, probably the coolest.
Yeah.
Who's next?
MRF
780. 780, the rookie. Had a pretty good showing tonight, I thought.
I
think
would
this is,
agree.
I think I'm just becoming the guy who like calls out top heavy rosters, but here's another one, right?
Maybe.
This one is particularly top heavy, yeah.
That said, I do think it's really solid. I think maybe the usage of like Terra point allocation could have been better. I mean, if you're gonna have like Terra, Toxicity, and Chinchino anyways, those only add up to 12 points. You could have gotten like Terra Ting Lu or something out of that deal, and still kept those two. Terra Volcanion. But
Terra Clef wouldn't have been bad either.
Yeah, Terra Clef, Terra Ting Lu. Maybe this is a team that could have benefited from only having 2 Terra Caps. You could have done Clef and Lu, and then even then you can slot in like a 9-point, huh? So then still Delayed or Toxicity or something.
I don't think you can do Clef and Lu, by the way. It's 1 point over.
Isn't that 30?
Yeah, it is. It's just 15 plus 16 is 31.
Yeah, it's 31 points.
I'm saying, yeah.
Oh, wait, I thought it was 21. Yeah, I'm speaking. My bad. That is 1 point over. Okay, so then Scarman Cleft or something like that.
Yeah, maybe there's a better combination there, but I think Toxtricity is pretty solid for 7.
It's still a good roster though. It's for what you clearly see, Dragapult wants to click the buttons, and the roster just helps with that.
I like Skarmory and Ting Lu together. That's a nice pairing because both can set hazards. Yeah. You can use the body press Skarmory into certain matchups and let Ting Lu set. And you can use Skarmory to set hazards and let Ting Lu run 3 attacks and whatever you want. Those sets are pretty nice sometimes. I like that they free each other up in that way. It's something I've looked at on the draft board before and kind of pondered. I did have Ting Lu and Corviknight at one time, but not quite the same since Corviknight can't really do the hazard thing. But yeah, I think it's a very nice roster. I think we get better as the season progresses too. And in a battle between 2 rookies, who knows? Who knows what next week looks like for either one, really, right?
Yeah.
Only way is up, and DP, one of the league's best.
Moth.
Yeah, it does have the Terra Moth
roster.
I like it.
Bags pick up too. I do like this team. Bax is always a scary sweeper. Terra Moth is nasty potentially. Terra Slow King is a really cool defensive pickup. And slow pivot to get in those strong sweepers. Tinkaton for utility. Really strong team.
Yeah, I like the idea of captaining your bulky chilly reception or regenerator pivot, right? Because then you can really rely on that into a lot of different matchups where Slow King might otherwise be disadvantaged. And a lot of times that might be more important than, Iron Moth terastallizing for one reason or another. So he gave himself a lot of options here. There's a lot of firepower too, especially on the physical side. Conkeldurr and Baxcalibur together.
Yeah. And there's no shortage of special damage too between Moth, Zapdos, even Slow King itself.
Yeah, Zapdos
pretty solid.
Very potent offensively. I like offensive Zapdos a lot. A lot of teams really struggle with it. And a lot of teams, even just Thunderbolt and Heat Wave is enough coverage. I hate running Hurricane, but sometimes it is necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, DP's put together a pretty good roster. We're looking forward to playing him again for sure. Mudsdale, I think, is kind of a theme we've seen of these real bulky ground types. Slotting in late.
Dude, that's a pocket pick for.
There are so many bulky ground types.
Yeah.
It's an archetype all its own, where they're all little mini Lander Asterians you can throw as a catch-all to any problem.
Yeah, Mudsdale can really be quite defensive with the stamina.
Yeah, for sure. And we've seen every season they crop up. It's Palossand or Mudsdale or Sandaconda or whatever. Someone decides to pick up a bulky ground type late, and everyone's shocked when, oh hey, bulky ground type is a fundamentally good Arbiter type. It's it almost doesn't matter what mon it is. I mean, it matters, but it'll always have something to do.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll
always have matchups where it looks impressive.
Those are high value. Let's see. Cal next. Drafting Blaziken. Blaziken. Really like that one. One of the better Terra captains available, I believe.
I like Kale's roster because it's very colorful. Kale has a nice array of colors on her roster.
Yeah,
Some other rosters
No.
lack.
that
And
shit's
that's
important.
a good sign. It's a good sign. It's a good sign.
I like it.
Snowy Bundle's a little scary.
It's just a damn good roster. But like I hate that damn penguin so unbelievably much. I really do. But like, you know what? Again, like every mon that Kel has is just good. Feel the same way with DP. It's just every mon he has is just like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Like,
value in every matchup, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, Raichu notwithstanding. But an electric with the access to Terra can pull something off in a lot of series, too.
yeah,
Brave Bird team's weak, you know, maybe light on flying resist, or maybe don't want to necessarily bring out like their Bronzong or something, right?
yeah.
Throw
Or
Braviary at 'em.
that's like Intimidator or something.
Yeah,
I think
lots
that's
of
fine.
uses.
Braviary will be
Yeah.
nice if it fits the matchup. Like, Braviary is going to be really nice to have. Like, it will. Yeah, Braviary can pump out damage as long as you get it in the right position.
Well, you'll need Braviary's defog as well, no? Can Braviary
That's
defog?
true.
I don't know.
I did. It's
Yeah,
like half
they
the
do.
birds can, half of them can.
Yeah, I just look it up when I'm trying to do the draft prep or whatever. Don't really.
Can confirm. Braviary
I just
does
put
get
defog in like in the team builder,
Oh, it does?
like Max Beckman Swords Dance. You know.
Yeah, cool. All right. When he's building the draft board. Let's see. Yeah, we got a Lola Ninetales there, setting up the Veil, and really the hail or the snow lets bundle. You know, run like Blizzard or whatever, right?
yeah.
Even a little bit of ice spam there potentially. Slap a choice specs on that Ninetales. Really wear down the ice resist. Gengar I really like for 12 points. Would have liked to. Yeah. You guys go ahead. I gotta rest my voice here. It's a long one, folks.
Gengar's one of those mons that I feel like just used to, he's kind of like an old goat, to be honest. Like, he used to be a little bit more prevalent, but I think Gengar can still just pump. Like, Ghost Poison is pretty damn good coverage.
Yeah, it's
in
not bad.
Scarlet and Violet, especially.
Yeah,
So,
you're
like,
able to. Base 130 Shadow Balls, right? At the very least. Scar for specs can get you far enough, but it's got cool stuff too, like sub disable sets.
Destiny Bond, really, incredibly fast Destiny Bond too. Like,
Yeah.
Gengar's fast as hell,
Sub disable sets were way cooler when it had levitate, though. But I still think there's some
Yeah.
use for them.
I think Levitate Gengar would have been such a great fit here, considering this team has, a one ground resist, one ground immune. Total.
Yeah, really don't want to be switching Superior into too many ground attacks anyway.
Nope. So it's just Braviary, which is one of the lower point mons.
Yeah, and this is a conference with Rhyperior, Excadrill, Mamoswine, both Landorises, Iron Treads, Tinglu, Great Tusk. You've got to have the ground resist, right?
Yeah, there's a billion bulky ground types,
And they all
are
hit
gonna
hard as
stand
hell.
in
Like,
the way.
out of those,
and a lot of them are solid enough defensively to take a hit from Bundle, take a hit from Blaziken.
yeah, I think
know?
like Treads and Tinglu are the weakest out of those with like 110 and 112 attack. How nuts is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Those are strong earthquakes.
There's
And
no shortage of strong earthquakes.
yeah, Superior is not taking those. Wonder how many rosters that's really true for. Most rosters seem to be a little bit better in the ground types. Haxorus as a captain I really like. 12 points, probably one of the better ones with Dragon Dance Sweepers, Mold Breaker. You're not stopping it with Dondozo or Clef or anything like that. Good night.
Solid Mon, Terra Poison Jab. No.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see Blaziken next to Haxorus as a Terra captain at some point in the season. I think it is one of the best potential captains available.
Yeah, that's true.
We're joined by Trilly, the OG, making his return, and Greedent, the officer,
wow.
coming home from a late shift and grabbing a pickle from the refrigerator.
The pickler himself.
The pickler himself. Willis is the last roster on this list.
Good roster.
I like all the pieces individually. I have one complaint with Willis's roster, and it's that like Saraledge and Zarude both want to like be Terra captains, right? Especially for the 15-point cost. I don't know, but Zarude I think is a nice, just kind of like general pivot, if nothing else. Knock off, U-turn, coverage with close
If you
combat.
want a bulky grass type,
I like it a lot, but I just think
good, yeah.
I think part of their point value is tied up in being able to Terra, and he did leave 11 points on the board as well. So if it comes down to it, he has plenty of sort of flexibility there. Kilowattrel terrorized me last season, and he picked that up.
I think Kilowattrel is an amazing pick for 6 points.
I'm just not a Kilowattrel fan. It's a good mon. I'm just not a fan of Kilowattrel. Probably because it's one of those mons where it's like, oh, you got to click Hurricane, and I see Hurricane, and I feel like vomiting. I'm not clicking that move.
Yeah, Hurricane's rough, as DP will attest. It's also rough when on the other end when it confuses you like 4 or 5 times in a row,
or,
too, right?
Or, you miss like a 95 accurate move and somebody hits 6 Hurricanes in a row, and you kind of like, well,
not your game.
Terrible.
I mean, that's the thing, right? I try to always like not click that shit. Like, will I run Focus Blast on Darkrai? At some point, I'll have to just to keep people like honest, right? But I don't want to. I'm not looking forward to that shit.
Yeah,
I love Latias. That's like point for point. Obviously a top 5 captain, right? Latias, bulky, weakness policy sets, able to Terra. I'm really excited to see what Willis does with that. And Primarina, he's used in the past very successfully. Kind
of like room for pivoting here. You got flip turn, U-turn, volt switch, another U-turn guy.
Yeah, always on the move with this team. Latias can baton pass too, if like you want it on like a choice spec set or something. There's plenty of it. Even Glaceon, to that point, right? Pretty nuts how much, just general pivoting is available on this team and in general, but that's a gripe of mine for another time. Primarina, Willis kind of like the Primarina Whisperer at this point. He'll get it done with it. Unfortunately, unable to terrestrialize it next to Latias. That'd be pretty cool. I think Primarina's a pretty cool Terra captain too. But Kilowattrel for 6, I think that is pretty insane. A lot of teams will struggle into just that strong electric flying coverage and the ability to go modest too versus a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Rhyperior, another great Terra captain. For 11 points next to Latias, that's probably one of the best options you could have hoped for. I really like Rhyperior as a captain. I think it's bulky enough too to like occasionally get away with like setting up a Swords Dance and a Rock Polish, which is pretty cool. I didn't pull it off when I used it. I always used it a little more defensively. The way I built the roster kind of limited me that way, I think. Overall, I like it a lot. Salazzle has potential for shenanigans too, right? Kind of a matchup mon. Glaceon, maybe not so much, but having the evolutions is just kind of fun.
Cool.
Yeah,
Glaceon's a good mon. It's a good set. It's a good bit of bulk. It's a good bit of bulk.
Yeah, Scizor
but the bulky ice type isn't a great archetype.
No, not quite. But it is powerful too. But unfortunately slow. Well,
he has 11 more points. He could always.
He can, he can buff it up a little bit, right? We got Trill saying, Trill Bill Trilly. That's who that is.
For coming up with 11 points. He has a really good roster, and he still has 11 points left over. Like he cooked. He cooked.
To say that this roster looks as complete as it does with 11 points left on the table, that's nuts. We'll see if he makes any moves early. Yeah, I'm about tapped out, to be honest with you. No replay. Kel is inquiring about the price of Scizor. Willis has vehemently denied that Scizor will be traded. at this point in time. But as the season progresses, these things do change quickly. That's all I got for you. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
No, not much.
Congrats.
Have fun playing some Pokemon, man, and don't get
Congrats.
unlucky.
It's going to be a pretty
Congrats,
fun
Mike,
season.
on winning another championship.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Like, what was the Joe Mazzulla quote? You're gonna have a red dot on you now, and he said, "I hope it's not." He said, "You're gonna have a target on your back." I said, "I hope it's not on my back. I hope it's right between my eyes. I hope I can see the red dot." That's the mentality you got to go into.
Listen,
Tyson.
don't quote that jackass to me, all right?
You don't fucking.
No, man. Get out of here. We're done. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.